Thailand has launched airstrikes along its disputed border with Cambodia. Now, this happened after both the countries accused the other of breaching a ceasefire agreement brokered by the US President Donald Trump. Now, according to Thailand's military, at least one Thai soldier, let me correct myself here, has been killed and 4 wounded in the clashes that broke out around 2 areas in the easternmost province of Uban Ratchathani. Now, this happened after its troops came under Cambodian fire. This is the Thai version that we are getting you. Meanwhile, on the other side of the border, Cambodia's defense ministry has said that Thai military had launched dawn attacks on its forces following days of provocative actions. Meanwhile, Thailand's army is contesting Cambodia's military claims and are alleging that it's Cambodia which in fact had fired BM-21 rockets towards the Thai civilian areas. My colleague Vishal Vivek joins us for more on this. Vishal, a lot of allegations and counter-allegations coming in from both the sides. We've also seen the face-off over the landmines last week at the UN. A dramatically escalating situation, a dramatically volatile situation. What's the latest you're picking from ground, Vishal?
Well, Arjun, the latest is that at least 500,000 people are fleeing the conflict as we speak. We heard that earlier there was a conflict going on during the weekend. As you rightly mentioned, there was a conflict over landmines that are, spread across the border area of Thailand and Cambodia. During the conflict, that one Thai soldier was killed. That resulted in a retaliatory strike from the Thailand side to the Cambodian side. But both the sides are sort of trading blame at the moment. They are not ready to, accept who really started the conflict again, because we all know that this whole, tension had escalated back in July, resulting in the deaths of at least 4 dozen people on both the sides. And, it had required US's intervention, and that has resulted in a peace deal.
Right.
But it's been a fragile peace deal, as we've all seen. We'll have to see how this progresses further, because some reports suggest that some military aircraft have been used to get into the territory of Cambodian side, and it could result in civilian casualties as well.
Absolutely right there, Vishal. Now, this confrontation, in fact, has been on since July this year, and it actually hit a high in August, in the end of August, when former Thai Prime Minister Shinawatra had to resign after that controversial phone call with Cambodian leader Han came into the public domain. Meanwhile, this next report takes you and traces the exact genesis of this current landmine conflict. Viewers, take a look.
Thailand and Cambodia stand on shaking ground after mine ban talks in Geneva cracked open old wounds with new bite. Both sides accuse the other of playing legal hardball, even as their fragile ceasefire creaks under pressure. The tension is rooted in July's firestorm. It was the worst violence in 10 years. It erupted near the Tha Mueang Thom temple complex, a sacred centuries-old site perched on the border. One like a stone witness to every feud. Within days, fighting spread to 12 locations. There were artillery, rockets, Thai airstrikes, and civilians running for their lives. At least 38 dead, 300,000 displaced. A landmine blast a day earlier injured 5 Thai soldiers, triggering accusations of new Cambodian mines. It's a claim Phnom Penh denies. Ambassadors were recalled as tempers soared. Then came the political drama. The leaked call between Thai PM Paetongtarn Shinawatra and Cambodia's Hun Sen. The leak upended Bangkok's leadership and torched the last threads of trust between the Shinawatra and Hun dynasty. But these tensions echo back centuries, from the Khmer Empire's reach to Siamese conquest to French-drawn borders that left temples like Preah Vihear and Tha Mueang Thom trapped in territorial limbo. The ICJ clarified ownership, but the land around the temples remains a powder keg. ASEAN finally brokered a ceasefire on July 28th. But the world has witnessed many times firsthand that peace built on contested stone can crumble fast. It usually does. And with rhetoric flaring again this week, the question returns: how long before history repeats itself at these temples once more?
UK PM Keir Starmer will host Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in London today. That's Monday, as efforts to end the Ukraine war remain stalled, viewers. Now, the talks at 10 Downing Street will also include Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. US Cabinet Minister Pat McFadden, meanwhile, has said Ukraine's security and right to self-determination, very importantly here, will be at the very core of these discussions. Also adding that US-led peace efforts are at the moment a pivotal effort. Stay with Europe, where Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni spoke on call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky ahead of his visit to 10 Downing Street in London for peace talks. Now, Meloni has reaffirmed Italy's support for Ukraine after what she called a fresh wave of indiscriminate Russian strikes on civilian targets. Meloni also announced the dispatch of emergency supplies to support Ukraine's energy infrastructure and its population. Generators provided by Italian companies will be shipped in the coming weeks. Benin President Patrice Talon on Sunday condemned an attempted coup that was foiled by the country's army. The condemnation, viewers, came during his first public comments since sporadic gunfire was heard in parts of the administrative capital in Cotonou. The president did not provide figures, however, on casualties or even how many hostages have been taken. Now, earlier on Sunday, a group of soldiers appeared on Benin's state TV to announce the dissolution of the government in an apparent coup, which would have been, in fact, the latest of many similar coups in West Africa or the entire Sahel region. As it is known now, the group calls itself the Military Committee for Refoundation. Local media, meanwhile, reported the arrest of 13 soldiers who took part in this alleged coup. It remains unclear still at the time we get to this broadcast, viewers, if the coup leader, Pascal Tigri, has been apprehended or not. Meanwhile, listen in.
Je voudrais ici saluer le sens du devoir de notre armée et de ses responsables qui sont restés républicains et loyaux à la patrie. Avec eux, nous avons fait front, repris les positions jusqu'à nettoyer les dernières poches de résistance des mutins. Cet engagement et cette mobilisation nous ont permis de faire échec à ces aventuriers et d'éviter le pire à notre pays. Cette forfaiture ne restera pas impunie.
Now on to the latest in the rather disturbing Goa nightclub case. Viewers, now cops are on the hunt for the Goa nightclub owners. Who are they? Brothers Saurabh and Gaurav Luthra. Now remember, 25 people were killed in Goa due to the fire at this nightclub. So far, 5 people, including 2 club managers, have been arrested. However, the cops are yet to find the club owners Saurabh and Gaurav Luthra, who in fact are based in national capital New Delhi. And in fact, one of the owners, Saurabh Luthra, has also issued a statement saying that they are deeply shaken by the loss and will do everything to help and assist the probe. Cops, meanwhile, have issued a lookout circular against the owners, which will stop them from leaving any airport. We get you now.
The Chief Secretary, DGP, IGP, Secretary, Revenue, Collector, North SP have discussed regarding the cause of the incident, and after having the detailed discussions, I have taken the following decisions. 1. To conduct the magistral inquiry through the committee comprising of the District Magistrate, SP South, Deputy Collector of the Deputy Director of the Fire and Emergency Services, Director Forensics regarding the procedural lapses and resulted in the mischief, and to submit the report to the government within a week. The committee shall be constituted under the chairmanship of the Secretary Revenue for conducting the audit of such clubs, business establishment, etc., which are operating without a valid permissions and wherein there is a likelihood to be gathering of the people in large number.
Syria's marking 1 year since the fall of longtime ruler Bashar al-Assad after nearly 14 years of war. 14 dragging long years of war, viewers. On the 8th of December last year, the rule of the Ba'ath Party collapsed when Damascus was seized. Al-Assad, well, he fled to Russia where he was granted asylum and still remains. We get you.
أكثر الأشخاص اللي زارونا بالمركز كانوا يعانوا من اضطرابات ما بعد الصدمة، يعانوا من صعوبات بالنوم، يعانوا من كوابيس، يعانوا من قلق دائم. أكثر الشكاوي اللي كنا نسمعها موضوع صعوبة الاندماج، صعوبة التأقلم مع البيئة المحيطة، الغضب الدائم والتعامل مع الأهل بطريقة إنه شعور إنه أنا هدول ما نن أهلي، هدول عالم تغيروا علي. في البعض يعني كان أهون عليه إنه هو لا أنا أرجع على سجني، على القوقعة اللي أنا كنت فيها، عن إني أنا أرجع وأتعامل مع هدول العالم والمجتمع اللي أنا شايفه غريب علي.
In the Far East, there was a Chinese carrier strike group launched intense air operations near Japan over the weekend, over Saturday and Sunday. Now, this came as the East Asian neighbors traded diplomatic barbs in an escalating dispute. According to Japan's self-defense forces, China's Liaoning aircraft carrier conducted about 100 takeoffs and landings as it sailed into the Pacific Ocean. Now, these encounters in waters so close to Japan's southwest island chain come after PM Sanae Takaichi warned only last month that Tokyo could in fact respond to any Chinese military action against Taiwan. Over in the West, US President Donald Trump has solidified his takeover of Washington's John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts on Sunday. Now, how did he do this? Well, by hoisting its flagship awards program. Now, this year's Kennedy Center's honors widely seen as the top US recognition for lifetime achievement in arts, featured the likes of Sylvester Stallone, Kiss, and Gloria Gaynor. Donald Trump, meanwhile, says he's hosting the Sunday night gala in Washington and that it'll be a presidential first. Trump ousted the leadership and had himself voted in as the chair. Here's the reaction.
I've never been goal-oriented, ever. And a lot of people are shocked when I say that because you just do what you do. And I thought the one thing I have in common with 99% of the world, we're all underdogs. I mean, we all start out as underdogs. And we persevere, and hopefully we kind of attain our vision. But that's the one thing that really, I think, was the key to Rocky, is that you didn't have to be a white collar, blue collar. Everyone related to the struggle.
Over in the Middle East, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced in Jerusalem that Israel will soon advance the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire. Hamas announced it is ready to in fact lay down its arms as part of its ceasefire with Israel. Now, this after meeting visiting German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Netanyahu said that the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire agreement has been largely completed. Not only this, he noted that later this month he plans to meet US President Donald Trump once again to discuss the progress of the second phase. According to the spokesperson for the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Ismail Baghail, the presence of US in the Middle East has caused insecurity. The statement comes as it is an accomplice to Israel in committing crimes in the region. That's what Iran is claiming. Now, Baghail has also said that the US has been interfering in Iran's internal affairs, as what they call a regime change is actually a violation to Iran's state sovereignty. Listen in.
و صرفاً همه هم‌وغم آمریکا این هست که سیطره رژیم صهیونیستی رو بر منطقه اعمال بکنه و این خودش به معنای همدستی آمریکا در ادامه جنایاتی است که رژیم صهیونیستی مرتکب میشه.
Well, we stay with the Middle East viewers, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that he would not retire from politics. Now, this if he receives a pardon from the country's president in his years-long corruption trial. Netanyahu last month requested President Isaac Herzog for a presidential pardon. Lawyers for the Prime Minister argue that the frequent court appearances were hindering Netanyahu's ability to govern. The number of victims killed in an explosion outside a police station in Mexican state, Michoacán, over the weekend has risen to 5. This is according to the Attorney General's office. 12 others, meanwhile, were injured following the Saturday explosion. The blast actually occurred around midday on the coast of Michoacán, a state where numerous criminal groups operate, also including the powerful Jalisco New Generation cartel. Viewers, it's also, by the way, where the government recently launched a major security operation given the ongoing violence. We get your reaction.
Como ustedes saben, fue alrededor de las 11 horas con 40 minutos del día de ayer, 6 de diciembre del 2025, que se registró una fuerte explosión afuera de las instalaciones de la policía comunitaria allá en Coahuayana.
Votes have been counted in Hong Kong after a third of registered voters elected a new 90-member legislature Sunday or over the weekend, viewers. Now, a turnout that avoided an embarrassment for the government, but also fell short of the electoral system revamp that eliminated the opposition in the Chinese territory altogether. The turnout rate reached a 31.9%, surpassing the 30.2% in the 2021 election, the first, by the way, held under the new system. Candidates must now go through a vetting process that also ensures they're patriots who are loyal to the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP. Nigeria's government has secured the release of 100 school children who were abducted last month in one of the country's worst mass kidnappings to date, viewers. Now, the 100 children are set to be handed over to the local government or the local administration, the provincial administration from Abuja on Monday later today. At least 153 students and 12 teachers were taken from a Catholic school last month, and they remain in captivity. News from the land down under, where an Australian firefighter was killed overnight after he was struck by a tree while trying to control a bushfire. The blaze had destroyed homes and burnt large swaths of bushland north of Sydney. After reports that a tree had fallen on a man, emergency crew rushed to the brushland. Officials, meanwhile, say the 59-year-old suffered a cardiac arrest and died at the scene. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, meanwhile, has said the terrible news is a somber reminder of the dangers faced by emergency service personnel. Take you back to Japan, where the economy is shrunk an annualized real 2.3% in the third quarter of 2025, compared with an initially reported 1.8% drop. Now, these revised figures for gross domestic product, or the GDP, from the Cabinet Office have marked the fastest contraction since the third quarter of 2023. Now, in the last 3 months alone through September, real GDP adjusted for inflation contracted 0.6% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Now, this is simply compared with the preliminary reading of a 0.4% decline. Thousands of runners in red and white costumes flooded the streets of the Hungarian capital on Sunday as Santa Run returned for its 10th anniversary. Organized by the Budapest Sports Office, the fun community event along the banks of the river Danube is open for both adults and children to take part in. Officials said around 4,500 Santas took part across the 3 distance range, which includes the 900-meter, the 2.3-kilometer race, and of course the 5-kilometer race.